More details to come on that next month, but we'll have a movie night scheduled for July 16th, and then we'll have a programming scheduled for September through December of next month as well, including our Christmas party on December 16th. So looking forward to having that back. We weren't able to have that last year because of COVID, but Lord willing, we'll be able to have that as well this week. And so, or this year, I should say. So that's what's coming up as far as Pacesetters programming. Like I said, Amanda here is from the Denver Street School. We have donations set up. Normally we'll have every month a donation set for our Ghana school uniforms. We are not doing that this month. If you would like to make a donation before you leave, all proceeds will go towards the Denver Street School, which Amanda will tell you about here in a little bit. We have a basket set up on the table at the front desk, and then any sort of tangible donations can be put in the bin that's right next to the table as well. So Amanda is a graduate of the Denver Street School. She has been working for the Denver Street School for 18 years, which is a ministry that CCPC partners with. And she's just here to tell you a story about how the ministry has impacted her life and also ways you can be praying for and supporting the ministry in this season. So without any further ado, welcome Amanda up to us. It would be towards the Denver Street School.
All right, there we go. All right, we're live. So it's so great to be with you guys here this morning. Thank you so much for having me. I'm always just so encouraged when there's just so many groups from around our city that just want to learn more, that want to be involved about what's going on, want to learn and widen. I was talking to some people the other day that came down on a tour of the school, and they said, wow, this is not my bubble. And so I'm always just encouraged by people that want to widen the bubble and learn more about different organizations. And so just to introduce myself, so as he said, my name is Amanda, and I have worked for the Denver Street School for 18 years now, alongside the late founder, Tom Tillepaugh, who founded the school. And I actually, before that time of working at the school, I actually came as a student that was in need of my own help on my journey, and graduated from the school, and then started working with Tom in this role. And so, yeah, we'll just dive right in. Let's see here. So the Denver Street School has been here in our city since 1985. And so Tom Tillepaugh came with this vision to work with at-risk students. So I don't know if you know a little bit about the history, but his cousin is one of the founders of Open Door Ministries, which works with a lot of people in our community that are struggling on their journeys. But one of the things he started at first was called Jesus on Main Street, which was a coffee shop that was working with the homeless teens on Colfax. So Tom came, and he was like, wow, we need to do some more things here, like loving on them and giving them coffee, like that is wonderful. But Tom was an educator, and he's like, okay, so how do we help them take the next steps in their life? And he also had the tricky secret of wanting to find out, how can I spend as much time with them as possible? And there's not many ministries where you can actually spend all day, every day with a student. And so he started to get this vision for starting a street school. And so he actually moved his family from Oklahoma and started the Denver Street School. And so working with some of the students that his cousin was working with at the coffee shop. And so there was a man that rented him a house on Colfax, and he started Denver Street School with a few tables and chairs. He always talks about one of the students lived under the crawl space in the house, and so like under the crawl space in the house that was rented for him. But he would wake up in the morning, and he would come, and he would sit down, and he would, listen to Tom, and starting to receive that education, and also being loved on, and just being ministered to, and being spoken value over. And so, but the Denver Street School, the mission is bringing hope, a second chance, and the love of Christ to at-risk youth in the Denver metro area through a quality education and a safe environment and a supporting, loving network of caring adults that are going to come around them. And so Denver Street School was started, and here we are 36 about years later. So just to kind of in the timeline explain the other element that has been the Denver Street School. So we have been working with the city's most at-risk teens, providing education and second chances since 1985. But in 2015, Tom had really started learning about the kids that were being sexually exploited and trafficked in our city. And so he would find out about this, and our heart has been for the at-risk teens in our city. And so he was finding out about, just girls being groomed and trafficked and exploited for money by pimps. And he realized that Denver Street School, the role that we can play in the equation is that we are going to step up and start a school that's just for the young ladies. Now, this does affect boys and girls, but we were going to start a school that was just for the young ladies coming out of sexual exploitation. And so, working with the FBI, we realized that there was a need for them to have a place where they could come and learn and heal and grow as they were on their journey. And so in the national response, the national crisis of human trafficking, Hope Academy was formed. And we were able to start walking alongside these young ladies. And we've had a few graduates now that have come out, and I'll actually share a little bit about one of them who graduated, came to the school after being identified as being sexually exploited, and then was able to heal and grow and graduate. And so I'll share about her in just a little bit. And so the Denver Street School, like I said, we've been around for 36 years. We're a fully accredited high school. We have 2 campuses right now in the Denver metro area. So we have our West Campus in Lakewood that's working with traditional at-risk students. And guys, a lot of times people will say like the traditional at-risk students, it's so easy just to kind of like, oh yeah, like those kids, those bad kids on the streets. And then you meet one and you hear their story and you hear, where they've come from. And you realize, wow, this is like a human being like that's on their journey, and their struggles are different than mine, but they're trying to make this life work just like we all are. And so we definitely realize that even within our West Campus and the traditional at-risk students, there's girls that we've identified that have been sexually exploited or victimized. And they don't necessarily then go to Hope Academy. We just keep loving them within the context of the school. But we have 2 campuses. One is just for, at-risk students, so that's boys and girls campus. And then we have one that is specifically for the girls that are being identified by the FBI as victims of sex trafficking. We did have a 3rd campus in Aurora that was working with the East Colfax kids. But after COVID really hit, we had to close our doors of that campus just to make sure that we were being financially stabilizing ourselves as a ministry to make sure that we didn't keep all 3 campuses and lose all of it. And so we made the hard decision along with our governing board to close our East Campus. Our goal is to be able to receive the funding needed and head in the right direction so that in hopefully 24 months from now, we can be reopening our 3rd campus to serve these students. And so we're also 100% privately funded 501c3, and most of our funding actually comes from individuals. We are not a public school by any means or a charter school. We actually are fully privately Christian funded so that we get to talk about Jesus. We get to pray with the students. We get to talk about what the hope is, because if these students are just graduating high school and they haven't heard about the hope that's in Jesus Christ, what are we doing? And so that is a huge differentiator for us, is to stand in that gap. But because of that, we don't receive any government funding. We receive all private funding of individuals that stand with us and, donate to the school. And so I just wanted to read this. Sometimes it's just hard to encapsulate all that Denver Street School is. And so there was this, somebody else was actually talking about the school and said this, a volunteer, and I loved the way that it came across. And they said, DSS is more than a school for our students. They don't simply need teachers and a classroom. Because their lives have been marked by deep pain, they need caring adults who will wholeheartedly seek after their well-being and help restore a hope for a bright future. And to stand in the gap for those students and to walk with them on the journey, not just the education, but actually stand with them in the gap that is their life that they're trying to overcome. And so we really have 4 core pillars that that separates us from, like a public school, because sometimes the valid question comes up of why not public school? So in public school, the students come, they're huge classrooms, and honestly, a lot of times it can just be trying to manage the classroom. And I know incredible public school teachers, but the students that we work with, they really need a specialized education so that we are able to see the whole student and everything that they're bringing in, the trauma that they're bringing into the classrooms of everything that they've been through in their lives. And so the 4 things that we really do is, 1, we stand with them as a family and the love of Christ. And so as a school, we try to come around them during all holidays. We have a birthday box program where we make sure that every student's birthday is celebrated and that they're seen on their special day. Sometimes I've had students get their little birthday box, because we have a birthday box kind of volunteer program where each student actually gets like a special birthday present. But I've had some, and they're like, no, I'm not opening this until my actual birthday because this is the only gift I'm going to get. And so being able to see them on their birthdays and recognize them on Thanksgiving and Christmas and achievement awards, but coming around them. Also speaking truth over their identity is a big part of family. I know for you guys, myself growing up, my mom and my dad were telling me, you're special, you're loved, you're worthy of love. Well, that's not the case for a lot of the students that are coming to the school. There was one heartbreaking message that I've heard, and one of the students at our Hope Academy, her mom would actually tell her, I wish I had aborted you. And so it's just like those things being spoken over their hearts and their minds, being able to actually see them in the hallway and say, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I know life might be hard, but you're doing such a fantastic job, or wow, look at what you did, or I'm so impressed by this, or you are awesome. We actually have a sign in the girls' bathroom that says, you matter. I'm glad you showed up today. The world is better because you're in it. And so just being able to, whether it's in the classroom or during an award celebration or giving them a birthday box, we're able to celebrate them and their identity and seeing them for who God created them, who God is and who they are. They have a mighty, mighty, loving God, and they are precious creations. And so being able to speak that in the name of Jesus, is such a beautiful thing. Quality education. So that's our second pillar. It is so important that we are also standing with our students and saying, we want to offer you a quality education. So we actually really try to have a mastery and revision process with the students. We don't just want to get them through the high school. We don't want them to just, okay, you made it barely past math. If they're not getting it, then they need to master the content. And so then there's a revision and an editing and a resubmission process so that our students are mastering the content before they just get passed on to the next grade. We want them to get it. So we're also, like I had mentioned, fully accredited. So when the students graduate, they have that fully accredited high school diploma. We have the same accreditation as schools like Valor or Mullen, being that private high school accreditation. And so, being able to have that for them, along with the different programs that we have for the students. Trauma awareness. And so, like I said, a lot of the kids come with significant trauma, whether that's their house situation is very unstable and they're in hotels from hotel to hotel, like they don't know necessarily where they're gonna sleep that night. That's pretty on the extreme case. A lot of our kids at least know where they're gonna sleep that night because they're housed in some kind of situation with a mom, a grandma, an aunt, a foster care situation, somebody that they know is at least gonna be there. They might not be in the most healthy situation, but they know where they're gonna sleep. But we have students that don't know necessarily where. And so that's a lot of trauma that they're bringing into the classroom, or that there was fighting happening at home, or there's gang stuff happening in their neighborhoods, or, addiction stuff. And so when they come into school, they're bringing so much baggage, into the classroom. And so we are their safe place during the day, being able to say, okay, now it's time to sit down and learn and get an education, but we have to be so aware of what they're bringing in, because sometimes we have to talk through that stuff before they're gonna even wanna care to learn about math. And so being able to be trauma aware and working with the students individually. And then a hope for the future. So being able to say, what are all the things that your unique talents? What are your unique talents, and how can we help you so that you can have a career or give back in a way that's especially you? And so we actually have like an entrepreneurship program, and we have a Shark Tank event that we've been doing every year where students, seniors, will actually develop a business plan and present before a panel of judges and get feedback, and there's little scholarships that they win. But in that process, they get to visit a lot of businesses to see all the different things that there are. We grew up and, our parent might have been a doctor or a lawyer. And we know that there's things that you can do with an education and, moving forward. But when your parents, when you don't see that modeled for you, you don't know that. And so we want to make sure to help them know all the things there are that they can do when they grow up. And so we actually also have a board member that offers a 2-year scholarship for every graduate of the Denver Street School. And so they can go and get their associate's degree, and they can just, that additional wind beneath their wings to be able to grow. In addition, we just started an alumni program. So every student that graduates the school has the opportunity to apply to be in our alumni program and learn additional life skills and how to be an adult, adulting 101, so that they can learn how to be an adult in this world and meal plan at home and do their finances and get the best living situation. So I want to tell you now about a few of our students. So just kind of to put some flesh on some of the, the bigger concepts that I've been talking about. So on the left, this is Sienna. And she is it's been so fun. She's a senior. So both of these students are seniors. And so Sienna's on the left, and she's a senior who's going to be graduating. And she has been one of the ones that when she's coming to school sometimes, her mom and her have actually been living in her van. And they're in a stable situation now. But she's one that they're living in their van, trying to figure out where they're going to actually park that night, and then she's coming to school. And so Sienna now is in the process of getting enrolled in college. And she was actually, just really struggling because she had found out that her mom had relapsed on heroin. And so she was just on the floor in the principal's office just crying. I don't know how I can do this. How can I do this? It's not been modeled for her. It's not, something that she's seeing walked out. She's like, how can I do this when my mom is struggling with what she is? And so it's then encouraging her that trauma awareness and walking alongside them like family and saying, you can, Sienna, you can do this. You can do this. You are important. We are proud of you, and you can do this, and we're going to be here every step of the way. And so being able to get her back up and saying, you got this, girl. And so she's actually, she's painted a mural. She's been doing a few murals, but she just did this big artistic mountain piece in this hallway that leads to the principal's office that talks about her highs and lows. And so we're so proud of her, and I just talked to her yesterday in the hall, and she is going to be doing ultrasound tech. So that's her vision right now, is to go to school and become an ultrasound tech. And she's excited, and it has been so cool to watch her. She's not a Christian yet, but I was having coffee with her the other day, and she was talking about the only place that I feel peace is when I'm at the school in chapel. So we have chapel for each student every week, so that there's a time where we're talking to them about Jesus. We're sharing our testimonies, and we're saying, this is how Jesus has showed up in my life. And then just walking the journey with them. And so she's definitely in the journey where she's like, how do I reconcile all this bad in the world with a God that loves me? And it's hard for her. She doesn't know how to do that yet. But I'm like, I know you see something different in us. So you just keep watching. And obviously God's pursuing you. I know he is. And so it's just, continuing to like watch that journey in her. But she's on that journey, and it's hard to watch, but it's also incredibly beautiful to watch God's pursuit of Sienna. And so it's been really awesome. And so on the right over here, this is Ava in the blue and Mia on the right. And so Ava actually is her sister, and she graduated a few years ago from Denver Street School. Mia's going to graduate this year. So this picture actually of them is when COVID had hit and Denver Street School all of a sudden became a food pantry and a toilet paper closet and all the toiletries to make sure that our kids didn't just have, educational stuff, but they had all the stuff that wasn't in the grocery stores. We were trying to love on them in that way. And so we were delivering stuff, and they got toilet paper. But Mia, I just found out, so Mia's like fantastic student, straight A's, maybe missed one day of school this year. I found out the reason Mia missed school was because her dad has cancer, and it was like a really bad day for his chemotherapy. So she also is a part of getting her brother to school every day. Her brother also goes to Denver Street School, Rio, and so he's a freshman. But I had also found out that Mia's mom died when she was a little girl. And so Mia's mom died when she was a little girl, and now her dad is going through chemotherapy. I didn't know this about Mia. She just seems like an exceptional student. She's a A+, exceptional Denver Street School student, but just what she's walking through. She is a Christian, and she loves Jesus. And so I actually have a quick video to play of both of them, because both of them have done murals in the hallway. And so Jonas's goal is to have the whole hallway that leads to his office to be full of student murals that they're representing their life and their journey. And so, let's see here, we'll play this.
I'm Mia. This is my mural. It's a Bible verse that I chose. It's, "The Lord stood by me and gave me strength." I just plan on finishing the words and then, hopefully putting some flowers and making it scenic. And I chose this quote because it resembles a lot with me, and I bet it resembles a lot with the other students here. Yeah. Some ways I've seen the way God strengthens me is just by allowing me to wake
I wish
up.
I had one of these at home. So every time, I had a problem, I'd be like, hey. That's what your mom says. Does it have to do with my mic? Okay. Oh, and I forgot to welcome all the people at home. This is a good opportunity, yeah. You guys are warm and cozy at home. It is snowing, and so, yeah. But you missed a good lunch, but I'm sure you guys got that taken care of. And then if you want to turn it up from back there, because this will as high as it goes. Okay. All right.
It's a Bible verse that I chose. It's "The Lord stood by me and gave me strength." I just plan on finishing the words and then, hopefully putting some flowers and making it scenic. And I chose this quote because it resembles a lot with me, and I bet it resembles a lot with the other students here. Some ways I've seen the way God strengthens me is just by allowing me to wake up every morning and another day here at DSS. And just, I see Him, I don't know, like others around me. He's constantly letting me have other opportunities. And I think it was a really good quote, so, and it resembles. I would like to say thank you to the donors for allowing me to go to Home Depot and get these supplies to make this, and I'm having really fun doing it, and I hope other students can do it in the future.
Bulldog prints from Ladino, the mascot for the Bulldog, and it's Doris's name. And the dripping, I was gonna do my own interpretation of the logo over there. Represents DSS and the purple mountains, or Colorado Rocky Mountains, and purple is DSS color, and Drill Mountains because DSS helped me get over the bumps in the Rocky Mountains. Thank you guys for the paint for me to be able to do this.
So that was Sienna and Mia, and just a little bit about them. And so there's actually a few more students that we'll go through. And so the next one I want to introduce you guys to is Mark. And so he graduated from the school in 2017. And he learned a lot about coding, computer coding at Denver Street School. And so he is in school right now for computer science, and he just has a little bit also to share about his journey.
My DSS experience, before I came to this school, I struggled with drug addiction, homelessness, and overall, the school has just provided me with so much opportunity. My transition to the school, the teachers were very caring. They helped me through school, and also they were my friends outside of school. And most importantly to me is they helped me through my faith. My favorite class here is engineering design. Within this class, I designed a guitar tuner, and it was just an amazing project. And it inspired me to pursue a career in software development. And truly, I would have never found this passion of mine without Denver Street School. So I just want to thank all of you donors who provided for this school, and just thank you for giving me an opportunity to do what I want in life, and also give me just the resources to succeed. So thank you again.
So yeah, Mark now is in school, and he is just rocking it in his computer science program. And I asked him the other day what he would tell current students today, and he said, do whatever you can to stay out of debt and plan for your future. And so it's fun to see him doing so well and giving back with where he's come from, and just so proud of him. So this is a student, from our Hope Academy. So like I said, we've had a few of the young ladies graduate from our program. And so this young lady came to the school after definitely wrestling with addiction and abusive relationships, and just not having a lot of self-esteem or self-worth, and really worked hard with the counselors and in her school. She's a very, very bright young lady. And so it was really beautiful to watch her journey. And so I just included a quote from her, but she said, before coming to Hope Academy of the Denver Street School, I was hopeless and negative. My life was so messy, and I was pretty sure I would never have the ability to graduate from high school. I just didn't see a diploma in my future. And now I'm pursuing my dream career. And so her dream career is being an auto mechanic. So she's now actually an assistant manager. She graduated in 2019, and she is an assistant manager at a location that is working in auto mechanicry. I'm not gonna say the specific names. We really try hard to protect their identities, definitely for obvious reasons. But she is working in being an auto mechanic, and we actually partnered with an organization that helped get her outfitted with all of her tools. And so it's just so exciting to watch her on her journey, and a few years out now, her actually being established in her career and moving in the right direction. So it's just so wonderful. And then China. So China has always been interested in body anatomy, and we just had an opportunity for her to get set up to become a Pilates instructor, which I don't know if you guys know, but Pilates classes are very expensive to become an instructor. And so we have a Denver Street School alumni's mom that actually now owns her own Pilates studio, and has offered a Denver Street School alumni a full scholarship to pursue all the classes. And so China now is doing that, and it's just so fun because she is a Christian on her journey, and she's just been praying for the next opportunity that the Lord has for her. She graduated in 2015, and I was just talking to her a couple weeks ago, and she's just so excited. And she had said the best part of DSS is that once you've been there, you actually never really leave because we're a family. And so now she's working on doing this Pilates instruction and getting set up. So it's really, really beautiful and exciting to watch her on her journey. And so I wanted to share those stories with you guys. I mean, there's the hard stuff too. And so I didn't know if I would share this morning because it's hard to know what to share and what not to. But in addition to these beautiful stories of God's redemption, we also had, one of our alumni from our East Campus actually died a few weeks ago. And so she graduated 2020. So she graduated last year. And she fell out of a 3-story window. And there was some gang activity. We're not exactly sure 100% what happened, but it sounded like that there was some gang activity where she was trying to get safe by getting out of the window, and she actually fell and died. And so the students that we're working with, their lives are real, what's going on in their lives and the struggles that they battle on a daily basis. And so these are some of the incredible highlights. But I also, there's both. There's the really hard stuff and the really beautiful stuff. And God's provision and redemption is in all of it. And my mind is way too small to understand it all. But I know He is good, and I face my own doubt daily, because sometimes it's really difficult when you come in and you see some of the difficulties that these students walk with. It's easy to think man, how are they ever going to get out of that? But then my doubt has to be challenged before a mighty sovereign God. And so I think it's just in that continual process. And I know we all have doubt in our lives that we look at how in the world can this work out? But then it's just that faith and that trust. And He gives us seeds along the way of these beautiful stories in our lives and, in others. And so I wanted to share also. So I love this picture. It's a great transition picture is what's happening here before I show my intake picture into rehab. And so I didn't want to just go straight to that. And so I love the picture though, because it's a leaf sprouting up from concrete. And gosh, how much of that have we experienced in the kids' lives and our own personal lives? But I graduated from the school as well after my own struggles with addiction and looking for love in all the wrong places and dropping out of high school. And just a very hard journey. And so I actually I dropped out of high school at 15 so my mom and dad had gotten divorced. And my mom had moved to Colorado and my dad was still in Texas. But I dropped out of high school at 15 and definitely just on a very hard journey. And I became addicted to cocaine And I was just in a really, really bad, destructive place with very older guys. And some of the stories that the girls at Hope Academy experience, there's definitely parallels in my own life of my own struggles with being exploited. And so at 15, my mom didn't know what to do. I ended up getting arrested and going to a group home for about a year, which that time probably saved my life because of all the people that I was engaged with and the drugs that I was using. But after I got out of, just that time at the group home that I was in, my mom didn't know what to do. And so she found Denver Street School for me. So I got to go to the school. I still hadn't finished my rebellion, and so I actually got pretty addicted to meth and with an abusive boyfriend. And so I got kicked out of the school, which was good. I needed that tough love. And we have to make those choices sometimes with kids. But I got kicked out of the school and spiraled further and deeper into my addiction and got to the point where my hair was falling out. I had sores on my fingers, and sometimes I couldn't talk because my mouth was so swollen from the drugs I was using, chasing things of this world to fill that God-shaped hole that only He can. But I was in pain and needing validation and definitely running in all the wrong directions. But at 18 years old, I was at the end with my own addiction and the ways I was pursuing my identity. And so I called my mom and I said, I need help. And so she was able to get me into, her and my dad worked together, and I got into a rehab in Texas and really just started this journey with the Lord of pursuing my identity in Him. And so I remember there was actually a night of rehab that I was going to leave the next day. There was another guy who had wooed me, and we were going to leave. So I called my mom, and I told her, hey, Mom, just want to let you know I'm leaving tomorrow. And it was at that moment that my mom, the Holy Spirit used my mom in an incredibly powerful way. And she said, Amanda, you can do this, and you can pursue this path that will probably lead to death this time. Or you can pursue and fully embrace the woman that God has created you to be. And there was something adventurous and exciting about that journey that the Holy Spirit just used to radically change me. And so there was this pursuit of wanting to give back to the Lord and wanting to find this identity in Him. And so anyways, long story short, I called the school, got re-enrolled again, came back to Denver, and ended up graduating from the street school. And so I just wanted to share, though, just a little bit about, so this was my intake picture into rehab, where I was just a very, very broken 18-year-old girl, just in need of a lot of love. So a lot of the ways that our kids come to us right now, but definitely needing a lot of love and a lot of grace and a lot of opportunity and a lot of truth spoken over me. And then this is today. So this is my family, my mom, my brother, sister-in-law, and niece. And so just watching the Lord restore my life. And then here's a picture of me in the middle with a bunch of Denver Street School kids. And so I get the privilege of not just raising money for the school and telling people about the great work happening there, but also being in their lives. I just became godmom to one of our alumni's sons, and just, it's in my blood, Denver Street School and the role that it plays. And so, yeah, I definitely wanted to come this morning and share about something going on in our city. Definitely invite anybody that wants to partner or further learn to talk to me. My business card is on the table back there. There's donation envelopes if that's something you're interested in. We are always so grateful to get financial partners because it's needed to work with these precious ones. And so, in addition, I do have a card on your table that if you're interested in filling out, we are, presenting those in some of our classes of when I was your age, I wish someone would have told me. And if you want more information about the school, or you maybe even want to come on a tour, or talk more, have coffee, learn more about what's going on and how you and your unique life can engage with the school. Put your email on the back. Write me a note. I'd love that too. So anyways, I know we'll open it up for questions now, but I don't think I missed anything. But I do. These cards that are on the table, these are student stories as well. Just these ones right here, along with a little bit of information, and then information about the school on the back. And so, that's what I've got, but I know that Philip had said that he wanted to open it up for any questions and answers, and I will try to do the answer part. I may have some questions too, but yeah.
One of the biggest problems now in this war on Christianity that we're having is that they can't pray, or even mention the name of the Lord in public schools.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that can be fixed? Or is it just have to go to street school in order to be able to pray in Jesus' name?
That's a really deep question. So Jay had asked, that there's such a war right now on Christianity. And he said, is the only answer for a kid to come to the street school to have to pray? Gosh, I don't know if I know the answer to that. I think that, yes, definitely. I think that each one of us, like each teacher, she may break the rules. There might be a public school teacher that says, you know what, I don't care. And if I lose my job, I'm still going to pray with this kid, So I think that's probably a very individual question for whether you're breaking the rules or not in the public school system. But as far as like the big political, I'm not sure on that. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about this teachers and where they came from, what their area of expertise is?
Yeah, so the question is talking a little bit about the teachers and their areas of expertise. And so each one of our teachers comes with, their education. And it's different at different times because we definitely want them to be qualified in the subject matter that they're teaching, but then they are going to bring along their special, unique perspective as well. And so we had a teacher a few years ago that criminal justice was her specific specialty. So she taught math, but then she also was teaching criminal justice classes. So we're bringing in the, what the teacher's passions and their unique giftings are as well. And so each one has a little bit different of a gifting. We have one of our teachers who is an engineer, and so he teaches math, but he's also able to incorporate, other things within the learning in the classroom. But I think the biggest thing is making sure that the teaching staff that we have is able to be patient and work with the demographic of student we have. Because you can learn the educational component. It's very hard to learn the patience and grace to be able to work with a very troubled student. And so, and called by the Lord, because it would be very difficult, to do if that wasn't your calling. So, yeah.
I was wondering if you had any kind of a dormitory or anything. What about these kids that are homeless? What do they do at the end of the school day?
Yeah, so about kids that are homeless and what do they do at the end of the school day. So we are only a day treatment program. We don't do the residential component. And some of them, like I've said, their home lives range from being very transient in nature, where it might be like hotel-based or car-based living, all the way to very good like mom and dad home lives. So it's gonna range everywhere from the spectrum. Some of the cases are just hard. And so some of them live in foster care, some of them have been in group home settings, and so it really does range individually. And we definitely try to work with the students to try to help get them in some kind of stable housing situation, or at least help direct them. We work with another ministry called Mean Street Ministries, which is an incredible homeless ministry. So they are actually in the basement of the space that we are in. And so we partner a lot with any students that are in a homeless situation and be able to help mobilize them and get them into stabler situation of housing. Yeah, good question. Yeah.
You say there are 40 schools modeled after the Denver Street
Yeah.
School. Has anyone tried to get state money or federal money or some government source of money?
So Peter had a great question. So on the card, it does mention that there's 40 schools like Denver Street School across the nation. So we actually have 2 501c3s. There's a Denver Street School, which is its own budget and its own finances. And then there's the Street School Network, which is actually another 501c3. But Denver Street School is the flagship school for the nation, for schools across the country that are trying to do the same thing in their cities. And his question was in regards to, do any of them receive public funding? I think some of them, there's different things happening in different states. All of their hearts are to work with the at-risk student. There may be some programs within those that they're able to figure out how to do state funding, but primarily no. Yeah.
Years ago, I used to go to Whiz Kids.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
It's kind of for the little ones here. And I thought that was a good beginning for us. And I've listened to what you've been talking about, and I understand some that you were trying to tell them about, because these poor kids have a hard time.
Yeah.
And I appreciate all that you've done with them.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, so she was just saying that she had worked with Whiz Kids tutoring, and so she has an understanding of kind of what some of the kids have gone through. And so just kind of in relation to the high schoolers that we work with, Whiz Kids works with smaller kids and tutors them, and so great program as well. Yeah.
How usual is it that a graduate of the Denver Street School becomes a faculty or person on the staff like you? And how did that happen for you?
Yeah, so that's actually pretty common. We had at our Hope Academy, we had someone there that was she was a social worker, and so she had graduated from the school, went to school for social work, and came back. Our East Campus principal, Casey, had actually graduated from the street school and now has her master's and was the principal. Then we've had other alumni working in the nurseries, and so quite a bit of that happens. And so after I graduated from the street school, I was able to, I got a scholarship, and I went to Regis University and got my degree in finance. And I started working just as a development assistant with the school, but then was able to, just really, I've grown in connecting with people with the heart of the organization. And so yeah, 18 years I've been working at the school now, but did kind of have a period where I was part-time and just doing minimal things, and then got my finance degree. So yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, so good question. I did have that on one of the slides, and I did not mention it. We're at about 38 students. So the question was, what are our enrollment numbers right now? And we have about 38 students right now that we're serving, and that is expected to grow next year to hopefully be at about 50. And so after we get some teaching staff positions filled, being able to get to about serving 50 students at a time. So yeah, great question. Yeah.
Do the kids pay any tuition, or is it all free to them?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So she asked if the kids pay any tuition or if it's all free for them. So we are definitely believers that we want the student to have some skin in the game. And so it costs about $13,000 to $15,000 to educate one of these students for a year. And so a lot of times we will ask them to contribute $50 per quarter for their education. However, if they're not able to do that, we give them opportunities of service for being able to work with me in the office and stuff envelopes or clean, the office. And so we want them to have something that they're working towards to say this is something that they value. So tuition is never going to be a barrier, but we do like for them to show up in some way, whether that's serving. And then also there's an incentive that if a student makes all straight A's, that their tuition gets waived. So there's incentives that are built in there as well, just to kind of like have them working towards something that shows that they're committed to the process too. Yeah.
And then we bought stuff for you today for, school supplies.
Yeah.
Do they just get whatever they need whenever they want it, or is there a way that you dole it out on a as needed? How do you do that?
Yeah, so she was asking, you guys had brought school supplies today, and she was just wondering about the distribution process for that. And we have an area in the school that's like our snack room and our supply room, and pretty much it's available. If students need supplies, even if they're some of our students in college, we're like, come get supplies. And so the supplies and snacks that they might need to get them through the day or to take home in their backpack, it's available to them. There's no barrier for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Do any of your students take advantage of some of the programs at Denver school system in terms of sports or their labs or anything along that line?
So the question was, do the Denver Street School students take advantage of any of the public school type programs? And so a lot of the stuff we do, like we are the school for them. And so there are opportunities where with sports, like if we don't have a specific sports team, we try to help them get enrolled in one of the local sports teams so that they can have that experience. And we partner with different organizations. There's been some times where there's public school help when it's a fit for the student, like when there's special services that are needed. But a lot of times we do it through other community partners, getting the needs met for the kids in those ways. Awesome. Well, it's been great to share time with you guys this morning. Thank you, or this afternoon. Where are we at? Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate you guys a lot. Yeah.
Wasn't it wonderful to have Amanda with us today? There you go. Yeah, Amanda will be here a little bit afterwards if you have any more questions or would like to talk anymore. David, if we could get the lights up, that'd be great. And yeah, if you would like to make a donation, the bin for that will be back there on the table. And if not, no worries on that. But it's just so cool to have as a church, and I'm sure many of you are aware of this, but I'm still learning even as a pastor here at the church, exactly how many ministry partners we have as a church. And it's just really cool to see what the Lord is doing, not only in our context here at Cherry Creek, but in the different ministries that we support. So thank you, Amanda, for coming and sharing what's going on and sharing a little bit about your story too. I know that takes some vulnerability, and just thank you for doing that with us today. Yeah, so if you would like to stick around and talk with her, she'll be here. Other than that, that concludes our portion of the program. So if you would just stand with me, and we'll sing the doxology together as we end. And then safe travels home for everybody. I don't think it's snowing anymore. I think the road should be good, but praying for safe travels for you all as well. So let's sing. Praise God from whom all blessings flow. Praise Him, all creatures here below. Praise Him above the heavenly host. Praise Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. love you all. Have a safe trip home. Blessings.
Thanks.